Ever since Mitsubishi and Nissan started producing cars together, this Outlander has been Mitsubishi's best car that they produce. For 2025, it does receive some updates that hopefully make this car better. What are those updates? Well, let's go for a drive and find out. Under the hood, the 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander sees no updates. It's still powered by a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, and it produces the same power as before, 181 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque. I wouldn't say that this engine is slow, but you really need to rev it in order to get some power out of it. This is a decently heavy SUV, so that engine is working hard when you're accelerating from a stop or merging onto a highway or when you want to overtake someone on a highway. So make sure that you have some patience with this engine if you plan on getting it. Of course, this car still has the plug-in hybrid option, and that powertrain is much more powerful in addition to being much more economical. With this 2.5-liter engine, the Outlander is rated for 9.7 liters per 100 kilometers in a city and 7.7 liters per 100 kilometers on a highway. Since the last time that I drove the Outlander, I believe it was 2022 or 2023, I did manage to get better overall fuel economy this time around. I'm averaging 8.7 liters per 100 kilometers combined. Last time I think I was averaging about 9.5 liters per 100 kilometers. I think the difference is that this time around I have been driving this car a little bit more often on highways. And I will say this, on highways you can actually get as low as 7 liters per 100 kilometers thanks to the CVT that is paired with this engine. I know that this transmission isn't exactly engaging to drive, but it does give you 8 virtual gears to fool around with, and you can shift them using the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. And plus, on highways, it does its job really well. It keeps the engine's RPMs as low as possible. So there are no changes to this powertrain, but Mitsubishi did retune the steering and the suspension. So now the steering feels a little bit tighter on center, and it loads up just a little bit more when you start turning it. As for the suspension, it's not as flubbery as before, if that's even a word. So around corners, if you take them a bit too quickly, the body roll is resisted just a tiny bit more. But otherwise, don't expect this to be any sort of competition for the Mazda CX-5. That is still one of the best driving compact crossover SUVs on the market right now. The 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander has a compliant ride over most bumps and poorly maintained roads. It's not the most plush ride, but it's not the most firm ride either. However, it's the seats that provide the most comfort with plenty of support for your back in addition to soft and well-padded cushions. But it's the driver's seat that has more adjustability. The passenger seat is only a 4-way seat even on this GT trim. As for cabin noises, the Outlander is relatively quiet on highways when it comes to wind and road noise. But the engine gets very noisy when accelerating, especially above 2000 RPMs, and it's not a pleasant sound. The most noticeable change on the inside of the 2025 Outlander is with the center console. The cup holders are no longer next to the center armrest and instead are stacked vertically next to the gear selector. Unfortunately, this center console is in gloss black plastic, and as I'm sure you know, this material attracts dust, fingerprints, scratches very, very easily. So if you don't take care of it, it's going to look really bad. The climate controls remain pretty much the same as before. The wireless phone charging pad is right underneath them. And the other change is with the infotainment system. This Outlander receives the latest iteration of, well, Nissan's version of the infotainment system. If you're familiar with Nissan's infotainment system, then you will immediately be familiar with this one because, as I said, it is exactly the same, right down to the same font that is used. It of course supports wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, and there are different widgets that you can choose and customize over on the home screen. The materials in this cabin are pretty good on this top spec GT trim. There's leather across the dashboard and on the door panels. The upper portion of the dashboard as well as the door panels have softer plastics, but of course the lower portion is hard scratchy plastic. The leather on the seats is, well, on the center portion, this perforated leather is a little bit on the coarse side, but on the sides, the leather is a little bit softer, so that feels pretty good to the touch. And one more change for this 2025 Outlander on the inside is the Yamaha branded audio system. Now, I'm not much of an audio connoisseur, but to me, it sounds pretty good. As for interior space up here in the front seats, plenty of it for my 6'4" height, so I have plenty of legroom and plenty of headroom. But this car feels pretty wide from the steering wheel. So I can see the very edges of the hood. And although this car isn't that much wider than a Nissan Rogue, it actually is a little bit narrower than something like the Kia Sorento. But it feels really, really wide for some reason. But over time, you do get used to it. So that's about it for the front seats. Now let's go check out the back seats. In these back seats, leg space is actually not that bad. Yes, my knees are touching up against the back of the front seat in my 6'4" driving position, but they don't feel squished at all, and the back of these front seats is made out of soft leather instead of hard plastic like how it is in some other vehicles. Also, I have just enough space for my feet underneath the seat as well. Headroom though, well, that really depends on how you position your head. So if you're a bit more upright, like how I am right now, then my hair is right up against the headliner. But if you tilt back just a little bit, then there is an indentation behind the sunroof mechanism, so my hair isn't actually touching. These seats do slide forwards and backwards, and they do recline a little bit, so you can feel a little bit more relaxed back here. The center hump is actually almost non-existent. It's pretty shallow. On this GT trim, you do get heated rear seats as well as a third climate zone, and you have sunshades as well. As for the third row, well, that space is very, very tight. Ideally, those back seats should only be used in emergency situations. It's extremely tight even for kids, never mind adults. So if you do need to carry a lot of people and you need a 3-row SUV, might I suggest getting a bigger 3-row SUV. Behind the third row seats, the 2025 Outlander has 308 liters of cargo space. Fold the rear seats down and that number increases to 866 liters, with maximum capacity being 1,822 liters with the third and second rows folded. One thing to note, the second row seats don't fold completely flat. They have a bit of an incline. Also, this car does not have a temporary spare tire underneath the floor. You get a little bit of space in there for the headrest of the third row, but that's about it. Just like many other SUVs on the market, the 2025 Outlander comes standard with a comprehensive suite of convenience features. In Canada, the base Outlander comes equipped with heated front seats, LED headlights, a 12.3-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto integration, keyless entry, push-button start, dual-zone automatic climate control, and cloth upholstery. Upgrade to the top-spec trim and the Outlander will have a panoramic sunroof, power liftgate, head-up display, fully digital driver display, 3-zone climate controls, quilted leather upholstery, heated second-row seats, ventilated front seats, a heated steering wheel, and rear sunshades, among many other features. How much is it going to cost you for all of those gadgets? Well, the 2025 Outlander ES starts at around $35,600 Canadian, and this GT trim will cost you about $46,500 Canadian. Now, both of those prices are actually less expensive than the Kia Sorento, probably the closest competitor to this car. And the Volkswagen Tiguan, unfortunately, no longer has a third row for the 2025 model year. So if you need a compact 3-row SUV, then this is your best bang for buck. The 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander received an ever so slight exterior refresh. It has a different front bumper design, slightly different taillights, and new wheel designs. The latter is the most noticeable change, as the other two changes are hard to tell unless you get a 2024 and this 2025 Outlander side by side. So is the Mitsubishi Outlander worth getting? Well, if you plan on using that third row often, then might I suggest getting something a little bit bigger, because as I said earlier in the video, that third row is very tight for kids, never mind adults. So may I suggest the Hyundai Santa Fe, for example? That was my previous car of the year, and you can check out that video up there if you're interested. If you plan on using this car as a two-row SUV, again, there are a few better options out there. But if you definitely need to have a third row in emergency situations, then, as I also said earlier in the video, this car undercuts the Kia Sorento, and the Volkswagen Tiguan no longer has a third row option for 2025. Plus, you can get this car with a plug-in hybrid powertrain, and that car is actually really good. In the meantime, if you would like to know more about this Mitsubishi Outlander, I have a more detailed written review of it over on my website. You can find that link in the video description or click on the pop-up banner right up there. And as always, I will see you in the next car, truck, or most likely another SUV. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you in the next one.